By the rivers of Babylon. Before the first scribe pressed law into clay, the river was already writing. She carries the memory of a freedom we no longer name. I hear the Euphrates at night through the lattice, whispering stories of women who came to her bound and left either lighter or gone. They say she remembers everything: the gods' laughter, the drowned breath, the weight of bracelets pulled down by silt. Today, my bangles are down to one. Once my arm held 15, bright clay, painted wood, a thin silver that sang when I moved. Gifts from suitors who once liked my eyes, my weaving, my father's grain. This morning, I broke them, all but one that belongs to Anailu. Shards scattered like seed on packed earth. I told myself I was planting something. I, Samasnitum, will be his wife. I am to bear him children, tend his land, weave goat hair and palm reeds for trade. I am to stir the pots, count the jars, keep the wardrooms in order, and the amtums at their tasks. Most of all, I am to please Anailu. It is said so often that it sounds like a prayer whose God I have never seen. My mother says we are shaped of clay and water, children of Enki and Ninma, the playful gods who made us to carry what the divine did not wish to bear. When she says it, she touches my cheek with damp fingers, a gesture of every woman who raises a daughter to survive laws written by men. Tenderness as training. I want to ask why the gods shaped us for endurance, why the first design of women was not freedom but function. But her eyes hold their small, confident light, and I cannot dim it. At our door stands Anailu's wardum with a clay tablet stamped in the name of King Hammurabi. He bows, recites the words that have begun every marriage since law found its tongue. The groom's father will arrive with a scribe. A prize will be spoken. Witnesses will drink. My father nods and sends him back with our terms. The Trahatu must be more than just one mina of silver, and my husband-to-be will absorb my father's debts. A bride must be counted before she's blessed. The Euphrates sighs along the wall, as if she has heard this bargaining since the first boat touched her reeds. They tell me the law. If a woman lies with a man without a contract, she is no wife. She must meet the Euphrates with her hands tied behind her waist. If she drowns, the river takes her back to the womb. If she floats, a contract will be drawn and she restored as wife. I wonder if the river ever grows tired of judging what men cannot understand. Outside my window, a date palm is heavy with fruit. When the clusters first formed, my father built a higher wall and set a wardum to guard them. The harvest was divided. My mother's kin took their share, and I will carry a basket to Anailu's house when I go. I envy the palm. She drinks without permission, roots where she wishes. Yet, even she is counted. Each cluster tallied, each frond trimmed by a hand not her own. The river says nothing, she keeps moving. The scribe arrives with his stylus and wet tablet, his fingers black with ink. My father and Anailu's father sit with their words lined up. I slip to my mother and ask if I may take our loom. That is the family loom, she says. It remains with the bride who comes in, not the bride who goes out. I turn away and sit before it anyway. Thread, loop, shuttle. Thread, loop, shuttle. I call to Utu, spider goddess, first weaver. I pray she keeps my hands from forgetting they once shaped more than threads to cloth. I seek her guidance to weave a piece of history. On my wedding day, they wheel me. My arm, lighter without its clatter of bangles, feels bare beneath the cloth. I think of the harem too, the woman they warn us of, and wonder if the sin lies in desiring many men or simply in being desired at all. The thought makes me smirk beneath the veil. As girls, we whispered about some hut who taught wild Enkidu the grammar of touch. I used to imagine what it might be to be wed to God instead of man. The priest arrives, a voice steady as drum. He invokes Inanna, goddess of love and war, and Dumuzi, her shepherd consort, saying we must travel to Uruk to ask for progeny. He calls on Ninurta, god of battle and harvest, and Bau, healer of the sick, and says we must learn both strength and compassion. I nod where a bride must nod, wondering if any woman before me has felt holiness as instruction rather than revelation. When the priest withdraws, they bring in my Amtum, a young woman called Jeme Enna, the one who serves. Around her wrist is a bronze ring, dull against my gold. The difference glints more than either metal. I know these rituals were here before me and will wash on after me. What I truly know is simple. As he acquires fields, he acquires me. As long as I stand in his yard, my fruit, my shade, my silent work will be counted with his. Night falls and the men feast. Chemeena moves between the tables. When she returns, I pass her the lamp. The light settles between us, warm and wordless. Do you ever dream of leaving? I ask. She smiles, the kind that hides an answer. Utu has woven her web around me, she says softly. We need Ninhursak's counsel. I know what that means. Bolt the door, keep your shape, live where the loom is. When the feasting thins, she places a marriage tablet in my hands. My name beside Anna Ilu's looks even and obedient in the stylus marks. I run my thumb along the letters. To rebel is to break it and break myself with it. To resist is to endure. Water does not shatter stone. She worries it, persuades it, carries a little away each season until the shape remembers it was meant to be softer. Each night I sit by the window with Anna Ilu's family loom, his inheritance, not mine, and turn it to my own use. The Euphrates moves in the darkness like a woman who knows every corner of her own home. I weave what the day will not keep. I weave our story of quiet servitude and surrender, and a wish to change it all. Thread, loop, shuttle. Thread, loop, shuttle. Resistance is a rhythm. It is not loud, it is endless. When I finish a length, I roll it and store it in a jar beneath the bed. Another follows and another. Cloth keeps better than memory. I cannot unmake a law, but I can make cloth the law did not ask for, and memory that moves forward like water. I keep weaving. The river remembers. What I leave will be taken, altered, worn thin. But somewhere in this pattern, a woman will recognize herself. She will not know my name. She will not need to.
The best day of my life. It is going to be a beautiful day. The best day of my life. I know how busy he has been, how much he has on his mind, and how he has worked tirelessly to fulfill his dream of a nation united, a land which will be the best in the world. His smile will be tired. I know that he has so many responsibilities, so many people depending on him, whom he has loved and for whom he has worked so hard. But there is so much still to be accomplished. I pray they will continue to tread the path that he has laid out, that of hard work and sacrifice forever. Despite all his preoccupations, he had promised me this. And he is a man who keeps his word. Can a man's love ever be greater for anyone? For me, 15 years is nothing, for his dream transcends time, and his heart and mine will beat as one, now and forever. It will be a simple ceremony, just the priest and us, no one else, high up in the hills and the banks of the Rhine. We will be surrounded by the fragrance of Edelweiss, his favorite flower. The Edelweiss and the waters of his beloved river will sparkle together like strings of pearls in the morning sunshine, caring friends greeting us on our special day. And the majestic flags will fly proudly on the linden trees, our heralds on this momentous occasion. When I will look at him standing beside me, with his intense black eyes, so noble, so calm, almost patrician, that is a description he dislikes, I will love him even more than I have for the past 15 years. We have been friends, confidants, lovers, and today I will finally be his wife. He has even organized a guard of honor, 20 of his elite battalion, to salute us and announce to the world that the event that they have been anxiously awaiting has finally taken place. I have a small gift for him, and I know he has one for me too. Exactly what each one of us wanted. We will toast each other with his favorite raspberry juice, ruby red like our passion for each other. The priest will read out the simple oath of marriage, and each of us will say, I do. He will turn to me and we will kiss. I will take a step back and take out his gift, and he will do the same. We will exchange them, and I will raise my right hand and salute this man of men, Heil Hitler! The guard of honor will say in one voice, Sieg Heil! We will hold our pistols to each other's foreheads and shoot. And in death, no one can ever do us part. My dearest wish will come true. I will die Eva Braun Hitler. It is going to be a beautiful day, the best day of my life.
The Far Bank by Suman Bolar. The river is always the first to wake, murmuring low and steady as it threads through the fields, carrying mist and the scent of wet earth. That sound has been with us all our lives, the river talking to itself. When Veda and I were younger, we used to think it spoke only to us, whispering secrets no one else could hear. We had lived our entire lives side by side, closer than sisters, our names always spoken together, Suchi and Veda, one word. We spent countless afternoons by the river's edge, building kingdoms in the sand, chasing each other along the bank until our feet and skirts were streaked with mud. Once she slipped and fell in, and I screamed, certain the river had swallowed her whole. She came up sputtering, laughing, her hair plastered across her face. See, she'd said, the river loves me. But that seems so long ago. Today is her big day. As I dress, I tell myself to be happy for her, though the thought of losing her churns my stomach. Her house is abuzz, vessels clanging, rushing footsteps, excited chatter. Her face lights up as soon as she sees me. Suchi, she whispers as I hug her, I'm hungry, but they won't let me eat until it's over. We've shared 1,000 secrets just like this. I consider smuggling her some food, but there are too many people watching. Her mother fusses around her, pinning, tugging, scolding. Sandalwood and sambrani mix with the scent of jasmine, sweet and cloying. When they begin braiding her hair, she winces. That hurts, she mutters. Her mother shushes her gently. Just for today. You're the bride, Vedavati. You must look nice. One of the aunts grins at me. Suchi's turn next, she says, and the others giggle and nod. I laugh too, though something tightens in my chest. The blood-red sari keeps slipping off Veda's shoulder. Its pleats are too long, sweeping the ground as she walks. I want to tell her to run, to come with me, barefoot, back to the river. But her mother is watching, so I only say, "You look beautiful." When they bring her to the temple, the Nadaswaram lets out a piercing cry, the tawil rolls like thunder, and for a moment I think I hear the river rumble in response. It flows unseen just beyond the temple walls, a heartbeat under the noise. In the mandapam, Veda sits before the sacred fire, smoke curling into her eyes until they glisten. Around us, the women murmur, "Lower your eyes, sit straight, do as you're told." The priest's voice booms, each word rolling into the next, unstoppable as the flow of the river. Veda follows every command, feeding the flame with ghee, cupping her hands for rice, repeating shlokas in an obedient chant. The groom steps beside her, his shadow eclipsing her face. She reaches up to garland his neck, he leans down to put one around hers. Some of the petals crumble, leaving little flakes caught in the folds of her sari. Her father takes her hand and folds it into the groom's. Her fingers vanish inside his palm. Then the Mangal Sutra. She bows her head as his hands fumble at her nape, the music swelling to a deafening crescendo. We shower them with rice. My eyes sting. I can't tell if it's from the smoke or from something else. They knot her pallu to his scarf and the two of them begin circling the flame. She stumbles as her sari tangles around her feet. I see her straighten, eyes wide, as he clamps his fingers tight around her arm. Her mother sees, but nods firmly. Message unmistakable. Keep going. The smoke drifts up and over the temple walls towards the river. I wish it could carry us both away. I can't bear to watch the rest. I slip out down the back lane, through the field, until I reach the river bank. The water runs high from last night's rain, swift and restless. I crouch and let my hands sink in. The current tugs at my fingers. The temple drums grow frantic, Veda's send-off. I think of her laugh rippling like the river. I will never hear that sound again. Tomorrow she'll cross the water to a new life on the far bank, a house that's not hers, a man she barely knows. I let the sound of the river soothe me as I close my eyes, wishing we were both 9 years old again instead of 10.
Dry stream, a bride's dream. The bus rumbled onto the wide Kollidam river bridge, tires thudding rhythmically over the expansion joints. Steel piers flashed past. Mala leaned against the window, watching the dry riverbed below. She had never seen water flow under this bridge during her stay in Trichy. As the bus curved through the Srirangam island, temple towers rose in the distance, shimmering in the haze. Thiruvanaikombil, Jambukeshwara. Lord Shiva's watery abode. The name echoed in her mind. Wasn't that name in Prashant's horoscope? He had said it belonged to his grandfather, passed down like a sacred thread. "We are entering Trichy," she texted. "We have crossed Ulundurpet. Another 2 hours," came Prashant's reply. She scrolled through their messages, a running commentary since their chartered bus left Bangalore and Chennai respectively. Tomorrow would be the happiest day of her life. She would marry Prashant. Neither of them lived in Trichy. Prashant was from Chennai and Mala from Bangalore. His grandparents had insisted on hosting the wedding in their native district, and Mala's family had agreed. She had her own memories of Trichy. Her 4 years at the engineering college, a sprawling campus, bicycles, tea shops, classrooms, and the festivals. The bus crossed the next bridge, Kaveri. Miles of dry sand stretched below, interrupted by a narrow stream. Buffaloes lounged in the shallows with birds perched on their backs. Akanda Kaveri. "We used to swim here. Water flowed about the bridge during monsoon," said an old uncle. Nowadays, water flows only when they open the dam, said another. Their words stirred a chorus of memories. Aunts and uncles pointed to buildings near the rock fort and the temples perched above the dense cityscape. They had their memories. Mala had hers. The girls' hostel stood nearly a kilometer from the boys'. Boys rarely ventured near as the professor's quarters stood in the way. But Ramesh dared. He came near the compound. He stared at her. She stared back. Crush? Their conversations were brief. Exam doubts, assignments, clarifications. But the staring never stopped. Infatuation? Love? They never named it. On the last day of college, Ramesh had said, "Looks like we have lots in common. We should be in touch forever." She nodded, then parted. She moved to Bangalore. He left for Dubai, then the USA. Weekly messages turned into monthly, all formal, professional, stripped of warmth. Mala sensed a quiet arrogance creeping into his turn. Was it the H-1B pride techies often carry? She had no desire to immigrate, not as a dependent, certainly not on someone else's visa. If it ever happened, it would be on her own terms. 18 months later, the messages stopped. So did the friendship. Now 8 years later, she was here to marry Prashant. The marriage hall stood just off a narrow lane where a flight of steps led down to the river. Children darted towards the riverbed as soon as the bus stopped, their parents calling them back. The city's heat pressed through their clothes. Young men drenched in sweat unloaded bags and supported elders as they walked in. Prashant and his entourage arrived. Amid greetings and pleasantries, Mala and Prashant exchanged glances, smiles, and silences that spoke more than words. Then it was the next day. Priests chanted Vedic verses. The sacred fire crackled. Gusts filled the hall. Women in silk saris, men in crisp dhotis. Young men eyed girls in modern ethnic wear, their makeup flawless. Beyond Mala and Prashant's wedding, other unions were forming. Proposals whispered. Futures quietly fixed. Cousins guided Mala draped in a 9-yard sari to the stage. Prashant stood waiting. His dhoti pleated perfectly. He looked like Rama to her, perhaps to everyone. He turned and smiled, a smile she would never forget. She smiled back quietly, not for others to see. The couple are now divine, the priest announced, sprinkling holy water on their heads. They are Lord Vishnu and Mahalakshmi. Please do not touch them until the rituals are complete. Mala scanned the crowd. Elders in the first row, then the second, then the third. There in the middle of the third row sat Ramesh. Ramesh? She hadn't invited him. Was he related to Prashant? A friend? He wore a formal suit, odd for the morning rituals. He wasn't speaking to anyone. Sweat gathered on her brow and dripped over her cheeks. Why was she drifting? She tried to turn her head away, to focus on the others, but each time she tried to avoid Ramesh, her gaze returned to him. With it, the bicycles, the tea shops, and the silent stares. The smoke from the sacred fire clouded the hall. The sight of Ramesh clouded her thoughts. She could no longer feel the sacredness of the moment. Prashant followed the priest's instructions, sprinkling water and ghee into the fire. She admired his patience, his quiet commitment. Minutes later, he tied the mangalyam around her neck. They rose and circled the fire 7 times. The rituals were done. A queue formed to wish the newlywed couple. Elders first, then cousins. Mala smiled, but her eyes were elsewhere. Then Ramesh came near. Congratulations, Prashant, wishing you, he said. His voice trembled and his hand shivered. There was an unusual grin on his face. A flood of emotion swept through Mala. Prashant turned to her. Meet Suresh, my best friend and colleague. He came early since he is flying out this afternoon. Yes, I am heading straight to the airport. Sorry, I'll miss the dinner and dance tonight, and so will you, he said, turning to Mala. I am not Suresh. I am his twin brother Ramesh, your college classmate. If I am not getting you, no one shall. Mala watched his right hand slip into his suit pocket, eyes glinting with menace. A gun? The alarm rang, 7 a.m. Monday morning. Mala woke up. She had to rush to the office. She swiped the touchscreen of her laptop she hadn't closed the previous night. The matrimonial site she had browsed popped up. Mala, 35, Vice President, Global MNC, salary 1 crore per annum, looking for a suitable groom.
Hi, I'm Palak Shah and this is my short story, #Wari. In the black and white checkered marble courtyard of the palace floating on Lake Pichola, Vani twirled gracefully in her red lehenga. The lake, a mirror of the afternoon sky, scattered sunbeams across her embroidery of beads, crystals, and metallic threads, creating a kaleidoscopic burst of light with every turn and twist. Today, she wanted to dazzle, not for her millions of followers, but for herself. Look at you, mashallah, the makeup artist gushed, placing a small black mark behind Vani's left ear. Please don't forget to tag us in your getting ready wheels, Vani. It would help us a big deal. She gently placed the translucent red tissue dupatta over Vani's head, letting the burn, adorned with orchids and baby's breath, peek through. Oh God, how long, Vani? The Bharat has arrived. A young woman from her PR team bursts into the room, juggling a phone, a camera stand, and a walkie-talkie. We need clicks for the photo dump with the lake in the backdrop. The light is insane. And guess what? She squealed. #Wari is trending everywhere. Vani practiced her smile one last time before the mirror. Dewy eyes, a big natural laugh, but never too big, and always favoring the left side profile. She checked her Instagram insights. Her mascara-laden eyes grew even wider. 1.2 million views on the pre-wedding live? Followers up by 20,000 since morning? A strange feeling churned inside her. This is not a gimmick. I'm marrying for real love, she assured herself. She caught a glimpse of Rian's Bharat, an entourage sailing in boats that glided like streaks of gold on molten glass. Rian, muscular and picture perfect in a beige sherwani, stepped off his boat and joined his dancing friends on the pier. He looked up and blew a flying kiss. Vani blushed, her cheeks redder now, partly from the focus light aimed at her face. Vani glanced at the faraway shore, throbbing with domes, ghats, and palaces, all shimmering faintly into the water, imitating the double life she was used to living. But today, she wanted to be herself, not the hashtag, not the reigning fashion influencer, no constant zooming of lenses on her face, no endorsement embedded in every ritual. But if she had not been what she was, she would have never ever met Rian. In the backdrop, her PR team worked like an army at war, their voices bubbling and bursting through the walkie-talkies, a cacophony of opinions talking business and content. We need more engagement. Let's use this post for post-wedding teasers. Can't an influencer have a real feeling? Vani thought as she walked through the mandap with downcast eyes, clutching her dupatta. She could hear the faint sound of shehnai mingling with the splashing of water against the marble steps. Vani and Rian locked eyes in the mandap, smiling coyly at each other. The chanting of shlokas was muffled by the clicking of cameras, hovering drones, and thundering flashlights, while the aroma of fresh marigolds, burning ghee, and vanilla perfume fought to overpower each other. During the Varmala, relatives, the PR team, and the media struggled to find their space around the couple. Vani and Rian exchanged garlands and posed for the cameras. In the backdrop, the lake joined their union, wearing their reflection like a filter. Rian leaned closer. Baby, we are trending at the top, he whispered in her ears. All our reels are viral. Though Vani expected to hear some sweet nothings, she gave a soft, forced smile of victory, of confidence. Vani ma'am, keep smiling. This pose goes for the feed, someone called. Suddenly the power went off. For the first time that day, Vani could live an unscripted moment without the humming of devices. The rhythmic shlokas filled the air again, and the crackling of the sacred Agni took center stage. Her heart fluttered genuinely. Everything looked surreal. She started dreaming of a real life, one beyond campaigns, of unfiltered reels flowing with simple, organic love. Maybe this is what real happiness feels like, Vani whispered to herself. The power returned shortly, flinging her back into the real world, leaving her yearning even more for that ephemeral moment of bliss. Vani took a candid couple selfie, flaunting her mehndi and ring, captioning it #collab for life, #Wari. Rian pecked her cheek and murmured in a soft, playful voice, We did it, Mrs. Fit Fashion. Now trust me, a year later, a divorce post will be an even bigger hit. Lake Pichola shimmered softly, adding one more secret to its tints. Thank you.